Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another CNC Router Mixer. We do these every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, uh, depending on whether it's daylight or standard time, whatever. You've got to figure that out. But if you'd like to join us to talk about CNC routers, your table, your software, your projects, your 3D printer, your laser cutter, whatever it is that you're working on in the shop, um, you can join us here. And we do this every week, Tuesday. Um, so it's been an interesting fall for me because it's been fantastic weather. And rather than being in the shop working, I've been out in the backyard flying airplanes and doing things like that because I'm very much into RC aircraft. In fact, that's how I got started in CNC by wanting to make uh, parts and products for uh, my hobby and for sale. And it looked like CNC router was the way to go. I had previously done some stuff with laser cutting, um, and prior to that, in fact, my first CNC machine was actually a 4-axis hot wire cutter. Basically, imagine taking the thinnest string on a guitar and suspending it between two towers, and you had a z-axis on both sides, and you move it back and forth independently of each other. Each one of those axes was another axis. So in total, you had two ways that each side could move. They could move up, they could move down, they could move forward, they could move on both the left and the right side. And so you could cut out any shape that was basically conical, rectangular, circular, or whatever, as long as you could um, make it in such a way that the two ends didn't cross um, through where they had previously been. You can make pretty much any shape you want. In fact, there were other folks who built these hot wire machines with a fourth axis, or excuse me, what we would consider a fourth axis component, but it already had fourth axis, so it would be the fifth. But a bed that rotated the foam blank around, so they could cut things like a chess piece. I never got quite that far into it, but I did build a couple of the the 4-axis hot wire cutters before I got started with the router, and that's kind of how how it all began. I was trying to figure out how you made a router, and so as a result of that, um, I got deep into this, and now we talk about CNC routers on Tuesday. So things have been quiet inside the Facebook group for a little bit. I think it's some of the things that Facebook is doing with the algorithms and changing things, but uh, folks aren't interacting in the ways that they used to inside the group. They're not posting as much as they did, or if they um, are posting, I'm not seeing it. Uh, Facebook does some things that make me go sometimes. There's a folder inside Facebook Messenger, um, which a lot of Facebook's platform is built around being able to message each other and talk to each other. But they have a folder that they store anybody who's not on your friends list. Whenever they make a request to send a message to you, it goes to this folder, and they hide this folder pretty deep in Messenger. In fact, in order to see what's in this folder, even to know that this folder exists, you have to go inside of Messenger, and then you have to go up to the top, and you have to click the three dots, that are across the top, and that will open up another window. And on there, one of the things it'll say is message request. Earlier today, I did exactly that because somebody mentioned it to me in a conversation. I said, and go see what's there. Found about 300 messages that I never received or never knew that I had received from folks inside the group, folks outside the group, people trying to sell me real estate, you name it. Anybody that was requesting to get a message through to me went in that bin. And there was some CNC stuff. I responded to one guy who'd been waiting on a response for nearly 2 or 3 years. Thankfully, he didn't wait on my response to make his decision on what machine to buy. So, but it all ended well because he bought the one I was going to recommend of the two that he mentioned. So, but yeah, it's getting difficult to know what things Facebook is showing you and what things they are not. So that makes for some interesting times, and several people I know have done things that take their group off of Facebook and things. I'm not ready to do that, but other folks have done things like that, and it's just interesting to see what's going on with that. So if you have sent me a message of some kind and we're awaiting a response that I hadn't gotten to you, chances are it's because it went to that folder. It's like a giant spam folder that you never knew was there for stuff that's not really spam. Go figure. I'm sure there's some business reason that makes sense to the folks at Facebook for that one. So I don't know. I do not claim to be an expert on what's going on with Facebook. Especially not after that one. Anyway, hopefully some of the guys will come on board, and I won't be just sitting here talking to myself for the next 2 hours, because I guarantee you that will not happen. But if you are interested, I will put a link inside of the comments for this post that will tell you where you can click to join us on the Zoom portion of this call, and maybe you have something interesting you want to show us, or maybe we can answer a question for you. But as I say, I'm putting that in right now. There we go. So just click on that link. There is, there's a way to get to see us. So I mentioned earlier that when I was talking about the CNC foam cutter and everything, that I fly radio controlled airplanes, and one of the things that had been going on with me, I recently went to a large contest fun fly event in the Catskills in the southern part of New York State, and I was flying my airplanes there for the week, and I realized as I was looking at my radio equipment that some of it had gotten kind of dated. In fact, one of the radios that I use on a regular basis, as near as I can figure, was my wife bought it for me on our anniversary around 2001 or 2. I'm going with the 2001, so it's literally a 25-year-old transmitter, and there's kind of ways you can tell. Like this is the transmitter, and it has a standard collapsible antenna. Well, we haven't used those in years. In fact, this, when I bought it, operated on 72 megahertz, which was the primary frequencies that folks were using to fly their model airplanes with. But because of changes in technology, we went to spread spectrum, which is very much similar to what they use on cell phones. That gives you connectivity. And I got this module on the back of the radio, which allowed me, kind of what it looks like, to send out a radio signal on 2.4 gigahertz instead of 72 megahertz. Um, and that gave new life to this transmitter that was, older, but, functionally, this was a competition level radio. This was a good radio at the time, and it still is. Then I changed out the batteries from NiCad to lithium polymer batteries, and that gave it, more life. So still being able to do things, but the programming that's in it was kind of rudimentary now compared to what they had. You look at any program from 25 years ago, it's generally less sophisticated than the programs that are being written now. And so one of the things I did was I upgraded my radio system after speaking to one of the guys at that event. I did a little bit of research, and then I went out and I purchased a new replacement for that. I'm still going to do some flying with that radio, but this newer radio is just a little more bells and whistles. In fact, quite a few more. And the look and the feel of it is different compared to the, now a large view screen and, CNC gimbals. These gimbals are made out of CNC aluminum and stuff like this. Is an aluminum face. It's also CNC'd out. So this one also has a module, but unlike the module I showed you just a minute ago, hey Scott,
Hey,
this one is a 4-in-1 module which covers 2.4, all the 2.4 gigahertz things in all the major radio brands in this. So there's 4 different protocols inside of this module. So anybody's stuff that's out there, whether I buy it from one vendor or another, will now work, and I will be able to use them with this transmitter. And in addition to this module, internally there is essentially a 4-in-1 kind of module that does the stuff that this radio brand does, which allows me to work with the drones that are out there, which have ELRS and a bunch of other formats and things. So it's really getting crazy how much you can do, with the modern radio right out of the box compared to, what I had to add to the other one. So it was kind of nice. Anyway, we'll get off that topic. I just wanted to show you my new toy. There we go. So what's going on, Scott?
not a whole lot.
Yeah, just
Wondering,
real. Go ahead.
any of you guys checked out the uh, Vector user group meeting this past week?
I know that Tally watched it live at the time it was on, and I spent some time earlier today going through the introduction video with what is her name? I think her name is Rebecca, and the one other person who was hosting it. So I watched that first session, got that out of the way where they were doing the introductions, but I didn't get into the stuff that they were presenting yet. So I'll probably do that over the course of the next week or so, as long as they keep that website up with that information up there.
Yeah, I saw. I watched the part where they were going over the new features that were coming out. They were coming out. They're coming out with an AI,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Sculpt OK, integrated in with Vector. I'm not sure if it's just Aspire or if it's with VCarve Pro and all their platforms or not, but they also got they've already got it, I think, but they're upgrading it or whatever. The cloud uh where you do it online
Hmm.
via the browser, vCarve, without having to actually purchase the platform or the program. You just go online and do it and pay a fee. Look
Interesting.
look promising.
Yeah.
Some cool new
Um,
features coming out.
yeah. They, that is interesting. I've never heard of anybody doing a pay per use kind of situation, but um, could be interesting.
Yeah, it
Um,
looks like they're integrating basically the same thing they have on the what's it called where you purchase the models and cut them on the machine without using the program that's got all the
mhm.
what the heck is it called now? I can't forget.
Yeah, I know the program you're talking about. Um, maybe that makes more sense for them. They'll get more people buying models, which is a frequent thing that uh, frequent purchase continuity, um, versus somebody who maybe buys a VCarve Pro once and then never upgrades for 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah,
Uh,
they can do it on a per use basis, and it's from what I understand, it's for people that aren't necessarily really heavy into designing
yeah,
stuff and their own models and stuff like that. They just want to do a one-time deal for Christmas or something like that, and they can go online and
sure.
download a model, run the toolpaths, and verify everything, and then cut it out.
Kind of makes sense. I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to seeing that
versus
demo.
yeah, something like that would be much better than having a subscription base, I think.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of subscription software, unless that subscription software allows you to buy yearly as
Mhm.
well as monthly. Um, because I'd rather buy a 2 or 3 year subscription to something for a lot of money than um, pay monthly for something. That just drives me nuts, and it's one more thing to forget or one more thing to have automated to come out.
Yeah. And one thing that would be good about a subscription base would be like on a trial basis. Like if you're thinking about buying the full-fledged program, you just want to try it out for a couple months.
Hmm.
You could buy a 2, 3, 4 months subscription or just 1 month and do whatever you want without a limited trial,
Yeah,
program.
because the way that they do the trials now, let's say Aspire, which is a $2,000 program, um, for a lot of people, that's a that stops them in their tracks because they don't want to invest that without knowing if that program will do what they want. And with their demo, you can create all the 3D stuff you want to, but you can't cut it,
Right.
and so
You
you
can
don't
learn
get.
learn the program before you
Hmm.
buy it, and you can
Yeah,
cut their test models and stuff just
yeah,
to make sure your machine's compatible.
yeah,
So it gives you
yeah,
an advantage there, but that's it.
yeah. And most people who want to go that way, they want to see if what it is that they've got in mind works in the software. And so for them, try even cutting the demo pieces, which may or may not be anything that they're remotely interested in. Um, that's doesn't work for them. Worked for me, but it didn't work for them. So I hear this quite often from people. Well, you know, I I really think the software sounds like a good deal, but it's kind of expensive, and there's no real way to try it for what I'm doing, um, because the files that they create inside the demo version can only initially be cut when they upgrade to the upgrade version, and then it will accept them from that machine. But it won't necessarily, you can't design something in the demo package and send it to your friend across town who has a Spire. It won't cut.
Yeah.
It's still, yeah. So, you know, there,
The only
so
thing they could do is take your ideals and
yeah,
reverse engineer it and get it to work. That's
yep,
that's about it.
yeah. So, I think pound for pound, dollar for dollar, for years, Vectric has put out some of the best, if not the best, CNC software for the home user or the small business. I think, I can say that pretty confidently. Um, there could be some argument for Carveco, uh, or whatever they were called before. It's escaping me at the moment. But
I think it was uh gosh, what was the name of it? I can't. It was ArtCam, I think.
ArtCam, there we go. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, but ArtCam when it was out was more expensive than Aspire was.
Yeah, it was
Um,
pretty high.
yeah, but it also did some things that Aspire wouldn't. So, but we were talking about the small business and the homeowner and the home user, the hobby user,
Hmm.
and ArtCam was starting towards a more professional market at the time. So it's interesting. Um, I don't think you could go wrong with either, but we're talking about Vectric right now,
Yep.
and I think Vectric has got it going on. So it should be interesting to see what this comes out like. Hey, Ned, looking very tropical today.
Yeah, I've got a couple of lazy days, so I'm taking advantage of it.
Yeah, coming into summer down there, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's we're
Late
expecting
spring.
a 35 degrees Celsius today, I believe, which is 2.5. So it's like 70, 80, close to 90, around 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
Love it. I, you know,
Making me
I, I,
jealous.
I wish I had a better education as a child because it would be nice to be able to figure out Celsius in my head. Uh,
Well,
at one time we could, but
the only reason is because I talked to a number of people in the States, and a lot of the discussion boards and so on that I'm on, even with other stuff, is in the States as well. And even in other boards that I'm on here in Australia, we've actually got people from the States in them
hmm
as well. So I've gotten quite familiar with your power and
hmm
your temperature. And look, and inches is something in the imperial unit of measure is something that, like as far as measuring things,
hmm
is something that we used in Australia. I think until like 67, but even after that, it was still used right up. And look, and people still even use it today.
hmm Yep. Um, well, it's like every time I hear somebody tell somebody's weight in stone, uh, I'm like,
That one, I don't know.
you know,
90. We're expecting, if it's not already, 95 degrees Fahrenheit, but I wouldn't know because of the miracle of air conditioning.
mm. You said 33
So,
or 30,
35 degrees Celsius is what we're expecting,
95. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's 95 is the in Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Um, it doesn't seem linear, the conversion, but it's got to be. It's like, so many degrees difference between the two, but who knows? Um,
The rough rule of thumb is 2.5 times will get you in the ballpark.
hmm Okay. Um, yeah.
But the
Again, we're off in
formula
the weeds.
the formula, and it's actually like, because I just did a search in Google to be accurate. It's 35 times 9/5. So, okay.
Okay.
That just throws a spanner in the works.
Yeah, the 9/5.
35 times 9/5 plus 32.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see the two pointy head people getting together to make this standard, and let's make this so that nobody can figure this out, and it'll
You
be the
mean
final question in your
you mean the people with no lives?
yeah, yeah. This will be a question on the SAT that will separate the wheat from the chaff. Yeah. uh, um,
I
that's a
I
test that
like.
we give our high school seniors to see if
Yeah.
they can go to college.
So how hot is it over there? It's hot. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's okay. I like those units of measure. It feels like.
Uh,
I need a long sleeve shirt. I don't need a long sleeve shirt.
yeah. Well, this isn't the most esoteric thing we've discussed today because I already talked about radio control, foam cutting, CNC foam cutters, and we're all over the place so far today.
That's okay.
Yeah, when
Hang on,
I
I'm just gonna go get my coffee. 1 second.
yep. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, they had a opportunity for anybody that was interested in doing a beta to sign up for it. They
Mm-hmm.
were only, I guess, picking who they want or first
Sure.
come, first serve or whatever. But I signed up for it. I haven't heard anything back. But I'm very interested in the AI thing. I've been messing around with uh Copilot, Chat GPT, and Sculpt OK, and
Mm-hmm.
it I've had pretty good luck with it. It's just that,
Yeah. If
you
I
use up
can
your
if I can
credits pretty
throw a
quick.
if I can throw a spanner in your works with the AI, Scott, um, something that it's coming to my attention, and this is I can't send you to any link specifically to actually to express my concerns, but something that you should be quite aware of and what I would be very careful of with a lot of AI, particularly if the AI can scan through your documents. One of the things that is of most concern to me is from a Microsoft point of view, and if you use Google Drive, it should be of concern to you for Google as well. When you go to a third party site, that third party site does not have access to your computer's information. So if you did use either Google or Microsoft respectively, they have access to your information. Now, what my concern is there's all these little grey, cloudy areas how they disclose stuff. Now, when you go into your and I subscribe to Office 365 or Copilot morning, Kurt, or afternoon for you. I subscribe to Office 365 and I'm about to pull all of my content off OneDrive, and I will only leave on there what I choose. If you guys haven't noticed it, Microsoft is forcing you, or
Yeah.
they're only one step off forcing you. They are insisting very profusely that you should back your stuff up to their cloud.
Mm-hmm.
When you first set up OneDrive, it straight away, well, it used to just straight away start uploading your My Documents pictures and so on your desktop and everything. And you couldn't stop it until it finished updating. Then you could turn it off. But as everyone should be aware of here, once it's on the net, it's
It's
on
on
the
the net.
net.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now I'm not suggesting that anyone uses anything illegal here, but more so from an intellectual property point of view. In my OneDrive, my ideas might only be worth 2 cents, but they're my ideas. And
Mm-hmm.
the last thing I need, and I think I've got some good ones, and the last thing I need is for someone to have skimmed over my ideas and to then, with finances, adapt them to make money, and then later on I can just basically kiss my ass.
That new
The bottom line is, once you enable Copilot in your OneDrive and you do searches using Copilot, the slight technicality is no person will actually be listening to or what you say
Sure.
or what's in your OneDrive. But if Copilot or AI is scanning your documents to provide you with a result, what is stopping Copilot from using your information to generate a result to somebody else?
Mm-hmm. Nothing. It's interesting
You're
because
absolutely right, because you now have a chip in your computer that the Windows 11 demands you have, and it's your own personal
TPM, yep.
ID chip. And you can't get away from it. And like you said, OneDrive now is going to be up there where anybody can look at it, or the robot can look at it, and it's tied to your ID. So you got to
Yep.
be very careful what you're looking at, where you're going. Plus,
Yeah.
Well, that's another aspect of it, but I was looking at it more so from us being designers and intellectual people with ideas. Another person may not look at it, but what's stopping the AI using your content to generate a result for somebody else?
and it's pretty much a
they have
done deal
access.
too, because Microsoft stopped supporting Windows 10 on the 15th of October and forced everyone basically to upgrade to Windows 11. You know,
And I'm going to be fighting it.
That's true.
yeah.
So
So
they have full access to your computer. It's not your computer anymore when you
Nope.
look at their stuff, their documents. It's
Look,
actually their computer, but you paid for it.
yeah. Look, technically, from an administrator's point of view, from Windows 7, they've technically had access
full
to your
access, yeah.
computer from an admin point of view, because as soon as you're on the internet, but the problem is they were still bound by laws. They couldn't connect to your computer and so on, not legally anyway. But the problem with the AI now is that when you enable Copilot, or when you start to use Copilot and you agree to its terms and conditions, or you use it to search through your documents, you are literally schooling the AI. The AI is absorbing your content. And obviously that was a court case not too long ago with ChatGPT as to how they started their AI and how they got it to learn by scraping the web from other people's content. But now you're giving Microsoft permission to scrape your content, and that should be a concern.
Well, part of the major problem with it is they don't make it clear. You have to go through, read their terms of service, and agree to them in order
You
to
mean
move
the
on.
ones that change every week?
Yes. Yep. And you know, it's kind of ridiculous to expect somebody to go through a 300-page document telling you what they can and cannot do with your data.
Yeah.
If I were a lawmaker, I would have a law written so that you could just say no to everything right off the bat, and then
No. It should,
yep.
and actually, you
And
hit the
then
nail on. You hit the nail on the head. Once upon a time, I don't know if any of you guys remember Windows 3.11 or earlier, even
sure,
some of the earlier versions of
I
Windows.
remember DOS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DOS 1. When you installed an operating system back then, it would install the kernel and some basic GUI features. And even if you wanted Minesweeper or Solitaire, you had to go in and tick. Oh, well, actually, you had the option of just doing a suggested install, or you could click custom install.
Custom install,
And
yeah.
it used to have that little icon. Install it, but don't activate it, but don't install it until you're ready to run it. So you had that little disk icon, like a cross, a disk, or a tick. So what that meant was that it would make it available, but it didn't actually install on your computer until you ran it. Or the bottom line was it installed a clean copy of Windows without Xbox, without news, without weather, without all this crap that
Yeah,
I
because I've
don't
never used
need.
the Xbox part. Yeah,
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 and
or
because
Copilot for
I've
that matter.
yeah. Well, and here's another little funny thing. Microsoft stopped supporting Windows 7 over 10 years ago. Why the hell are they updating my old CNC, my old laser or my old CNC machine that's only got a 60 gig SSD hard drive in it and it's barely got enough to run Mark III and Windows and it's going around installing Copilot and Xbox and game screen recorder and whatnot if they stopped supporting it over 10 years ago?
Well, the answer is because they want to get into your hard drive. They want your access
Look,
to your
I,
data.
I understand that, but when they say we're stopping support for, that means we're stopping. I don't want them to update it.
Yeah.
They're not updating it, they're looking at your stuff.
That's for the tinfoil hat people, but I am with you there, Kurt.
Well, Kirk showed me how to make the tinfoil hats when I first signed up. So, you know,
Don't you don't hang on. Let me guess, because this is a very American specific thing. You get an armadillo, gut it so you got the shell, then wrap the shell with tin foil, and then you put it on your head. Is that right?
you're
Yeah.
you're you're living in a very bougie society if you're using armadillos. But yeah, I guess so.
Well, actually, yes, I wear a tinfoil hat because I was a beta tester back in the day. And I was also a member of the Windows 10 research group. And it was so onerous that I refused to submit reports to it because I saw where it was going. And I really didn't like it because somebody can use your computer and download some bad stuff onto it and you don't know it.
Okay.
But they can track all that stuff and
Hey,
you'll have some
Milo.
bad stuff on your machine. And next thing you know, you got the police knocking on your door. And the reason I know that is because a guy I know in Florida had that happen to him. He actually started doing some time until the the appeals judge saw what happened and said, "No, this guy's got to get out. This is beyond the pale of what was supposed to have happened."
Well,
Actually, to support what Kurt said, and this will you'll like this one, Bill. I
maybe.
watched a movie yesterday, and it was the Astronaut Farmer, or the Astronaut Farmer was like a 2017 movie with Bruce Willis and all that. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
remember.
why did? Do you remember why the FBI came to his house?
I haven't seen it recently enough to remember that
Oh,
detail.
okay. Well, it actually that was a
Oh,
funny thing
because
that
he
I
was
thought.
building the rocket in his is it
No,
barn?
because he was searching for the fuel for the rocket where he could buy it. The FBI turned up and said, "We saw that you were searching for fuel to build to power this rocket, so you must be building a weapon of mass destruction."
Yeah, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And that was
Well,
back then.
you know how I'm gonna pull us back now. This
Pull us
all
back.
started as a discussion of the fact that Vectric is adding AI to their software, and
Hmm.
then it became a discussion of AI in general and Microsoft in particular. So,
Yeah.
so
Well, my direction was to point at Microsoft, but it also includes Google.
mhm,
And whenever you use AI, particularly if the AI has access to your stored documents, which in my case it has got access to over 70-80% of it, and I do have IP content on there, that it is a concern that AI would be scraping your documents.
yeah. Um, I was very annoyed, and this is the last topic I'm going to bring up because I recently did upgrade to Windows 11. I was annoyed to find out that the backup that they put in place in OneDrive does not back up some of the things that I would like it to back up. And there's no way.
Explain.
Um, for instance, what icons do I have on my desktop? It doesn't back that up. So if my hard drive crashed and I wanted to recreate, my desktop, I couldn't because it's not backed up. Um, but
Um,
documents, they want to back that up, or your photos, they want to back that up. So it's just, I would
well,
like a
there's a
little more
reason for that.
yeah, I would like a little more control over what they back
If
up
I can just if
and
I
what
can
they don't.
expand on the backup,
Hmm.
in Windows you do have the old Windows 7 backup in there, and it will create a VHD file on any other drive that you select, any other physical drive. So if you go into your control panel under backup and manually start the Win 7 backup, you can do that.
But you would
And
have to
then
know what the Win7 backup file was called.
no, it's actually in there. It's called. It's actually under backup. It's actually there. That's what you run as a backup, and that will do a full. And there's a simple button, backup everything I need to restore Windows, which it'll back up everything on C drive, and you can also select the other drive. You can put a tick in it if you want to, if there's a second hard drive, or you can just select it and it will create a VHD file, which you can mount and extract files. So if you had an external drive, if you guys want something with a little bit more flexibility, meaning that you can do a full image of the hard drive and then do an image of everything that has changed since the last backup only, there is a site called Major Geeks. It's another IT guy that's been around for he's in our age group, and he's got a copy of a program called Macrium Reflect Free. And that program is an excellent Windows backup tool that you can also do incremental and differential backups. It's fairly easy to use. You can also image hard drives with it, and it creates a boot disk, and it can also do bare metal recovery. It's meaning that if you
And the
go
sad thing
from
is, Windows 11 has removed the sandbox feature. So you can't use the sandbox to test your
well,
stuff.
that's only if you're using Windows 11.
Right. But still, the point is they're removing features that used to allow you to experiment and do research on the side without getting your machine messed up.
Yeah, well, there is there is probably a reason for that. Again, the tinfoil hat comes on. One of the things that I used to use Sandbox for, you enable Sandbox, download test
Yeah.
software,
Yeah.
and extract it,
Yeah.
test it, use it. If it has got a virus or something, as soon as you shut that off, it's gone. It's back to where your
Right.
system was before it, and I would say that that's the reason for it.
One of the reasons. Yeah.
So I'm going to
Yeah.
boil all this down into one sentence. Keep your CNC computer off the internet unless you absolutely have to get it there.
Or go to Windows 10 IoT.
All right,
Well,
I'm
I
done.
have two Windows 10 machines that will not update because their CPU doesn't match what they want.
You're lucky.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Milo, how goes it?
Doing good. I was Legacy was doing some updates to their control software, and I was testing some of that a little bit and just trying to polish off some corners on it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you? It's simple things like when you're picking up a tool on an ATC They were doing like a Y move and then the X move
Hmm.
as a separate thing, and it was driving me crazy just because it was irritating. And so they changed it to an X and Y move at the same time so that it's, quickest to the location. They finally got the bugs out of their tool length library so that it can touch off once and pick up the tools. They were having a little bit of trouble with it. It was more in getting it set up. The library was there and we had a manual workaround for it. But, and when the spindle starts, I don't like it starting over a touch off area and then moving while it's running. I would rather have it go to the first cut and then start. And found another command in the post processor that I didn't see of all the post processors I checked. That command was not in them. And as I was reading through the post processor editing guide, initial rapid move came up and works out pretty good. You can actually have it move to your offset location to the first cut and then start the spindle. Just trying to reduce things cutting the wrong thing.
There's timing issues sometimes with some of those things. Like it always scares me on my Tormach, which is a milling machine. It will wrap it over to the location, start the spindle, and then begin to plunge. The spindle is not yet up to full speed, but hopefully it is by the time it gets down to just above the workpiece, and then it slows down a little bit right at the very end. So, but
Yeah. No, that was one of the things that they were also changing or did change to where they put in a delay in there. And a lot can be done in the post processor because I know several of the people with the previous control software version, a lot of the more I got into this darn stuff, the more you could see where one company was trying to make up for the shortcomings of another company.
Mm-hmm.
And then pretty soon as time goes on, both companies are trying to fix something that no longer exists. Vetric wants to move it over here and start it kind of. And then the company says, no, we're going to start it over here. And the two are crashing into each other. And so finally we started taking it out of the control software and said, okay, how can this be more accessible to the user? Because one guy said, I want it to move to a safe location before it, when it's done. Well, what is a safe location? 2 inches? Or no, not a safe location, a convenient location. 2 inches or 3 feet? I says, you can't define that for a standard move.
But you can define it for a standard machine.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Which is probably what he was trying to do. I wanted always to go back to this location up out of the way so I can get my get to my workpiece.
And that's where I prefer doing that in the post processor and out of the machine software, because the machine software, very few people have access to it.
Yeah.
Where the post processor, with a little effort, everybody's got access to it.
Yeah, it's like on my Tormach, the thing I mentioned about the spindle spinning up and down and having a dwell time. Normally, if it was on my router, I'd just go into the VFD. There's a setting for that. I just set how many what do you call it? I can't remember how many you're dividing the seconds into thousands or whatever. Milliseconds. There we go. How many milliseconds I wanted to do that. I could set that and it would be fixed for all time. But Tormach wants all their machines running the same way, and so they lock out the ability to modify your VFD that they ship with the machine.
Yep. So the only control you have then is to go back into the post processor of
Right.
whatever software you're using, and
Yeah.
hopefully, because I don't want to have people manually editing G code. I mean,
Yeah.
old farts don't have a problem with it.
Mhm.
Well, some old farts, I want to hit the big red button and that's it. But at least to me, the post processor is way more accessible.
Mhm.
But yeah, I had to put together a little video, so that people can see what to expect. Is that okay? It's going to move here. It's not going to be running, so your fingers aren't going to be in the way. Put in a laser offset so that it's got a fixed laser dot pointer
Yep.
to establish the corners, and then offset it because it's not on the center of the bit. But yeah, it's kind of fun to but each thing is a person's personal opinion.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, my first router had the laser pointer, and it was fine up to a point. It would get me within a few thou, but it would never. It wasn't repeatable. That's why I started the triple edge finder in the first place.
Actually,
But
one
yeah.
one thing that I've been toying around, and on a small machine, the triple edge finder isn't a problem. But once you start using, like, there's a lot more you can use the CNC for, like to measure and to digitize
Sure.
stuff, and
A probe. Yeah.
and so on. And some of the stuff that I've been doing, the really exciting stuff like V grooving and so on. But you've got to match the actual join between two leaves of veneer. So you're basically V grooving on the join. Um, and and basically, what I was thinking about doing was using one of the ISO tool holders and modify it so it can accept like a little lipstick camera, or a small webcam type, because you got like lipstick or bullet sort of style
They
webcams,
they already
or
make
cam.
this product. You could just go buy it, but go ahead.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe you can point it and show it. But yeah, I was looking at maybe putting something down there with a crosshair that you can align, or even do a digital crosshair once you slap it in there, that I can just move the CNC to where I want located, and then zoom down to it, so as that I can actually digitize at the point where the crosshair is.
I've been doing that with it's I think the name of the thing is a laser edge finder,
Yep.
and it's got a super fine dot. I mean, we're talking the fine as the end of a needle. Except if you bump it hard enough or smack it around, it's got 4 offset
Mm-hmm.
Allen wrenches, and it moves the head of the laser back and forth one way and then 90 degrees. If you spin it and the dot stays in one spot, it's calibrated. If it's sitting there, oval tracing, well, you better adjust it. But that
Yeah.
I use to digitize. I had a broken leg on an antique chair that I had to reproduce. And I just set a 0 point on the CNC, set up a spire with the same 0 point, went out X and Y to a certain part on the leg and recorded that dot on the spire, followed the curve around. And then when I thought I had it digitized correctly, I made another post processor that would not ever initiate a spindle turn on or a tool change. And then I air cut the part, tracing it with the laser. Now it's off in a little spot. I readjust the vector until I can exactly trace that leg. I reproduced it, took it to the people that hired me to make this, and I had 3 chairs of other things that were broke. And they said, well, which leg did you fix? I said, oh no, you have to tell me. And they all picked the wrong leg. So I was good. A little bit of deal, but a 4 foot by 8 foot digitizing tablet works pretty good for that.
Yeah.
It's a manual method, but it's a method.
Yep. They've gotten very good with laser probing, and they've gotten very good with wireless probing. What they haven't gotten very good with is making them cheap enough so that we want to spend the money on them. But they they do some amazing micron level stuff now. If you want that level of probing, you can get it. They'd be happy to sell it to you. But for the most part, that's not something that I needed or want. Triple Edge Finder is great for flat stuff, but there are other instances where some other probing method is better. Okay. I also own a Heimer, the 3D Tasser, they call it. It's German. I don't know what that word means in German, but it's a spring-loaded probe that you can probe in Z, X, and Y. And it also has the 3 or 4 little set screws that you can adjust it. You take a gauge and a tester, and you put it up against there, and then you spin it, and you watch the dial to see if it changes, it goes out of alignment, and then you realign it. Anyway, get very accurate with that, and so for a lot of the machine work when I'm doing that, because the triple edge finder is aluminum, it will conduct electricity. So because it's using grounding as part of its thing to complete its circle, it doesn't do really great when you put it up on a block of steel to try or on the milling vise or whatever that's on a milling machine, because that stuff's already grounded. So you wouldn't work. But this other probe will. And so prior to setting up a job, I'll go in and probe with that in the milling machine, because that's what it was designed for. It's not as fast, but it is very accurate. If I could replace that device with a wireless probe that sat in my automatic tool changer and just got pulled out whenever it was ready to do something, I would do it in a heartbeat, because that's simplified. But how much are you going to spend on making a $77 product? Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. Yeah. But there are people out there that will definitely overcapitalize.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, anyway, that's people's personal choice. If I were releasing the next product, whatever that might be, and it had a need for a more advanced probe, I wouldn't hesitate. Because buying the work holding I did that holds the parts in place so that I can make multiples of the same thing without repeating and without having to do all the setup every single time, that was worth it. Spending, I don't know, maybe $1,500 on just the work holding to start, and then probably another $1,500 on additional pallets. That was worth it. You have to make that decision on, each time you make a new part or a new decision. It's, you got to decide, was it worth it?
Well, and as you gain more experience, you're going to have a different idea of what is efficient.
So true. So true. But I tell you, loading a pallet of 6 parts is so much better than loading those 6 parts in a vise 4 times each. You know, so much better, so much more efficient. You're just sitting there feeding the machine. Had I had the money and the space inside the machine to make that a 12 or 24 pallet, I sure would have done it.
It's like closet space. You never have enough.
Nope. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. I'd be interested. It seems like all of the CNC companies are out there trying to innovate right now. It's a good thing.
So you were a production worker making those center finders.
One more time?
So you were a production worker while you were making those center finders.
Yes, I was. Yeah. Sold a lot of them over time, but now most machines come with their own version.
Yeah, it was a nice idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, I don't. You know what? The Triple Edge Finder doesn't owe me a thing. It paid for a lot of cool stuff, including the machine it's made on. So several machines actually. So
You did get a
Well,
patent on it, didn't you?
oh, silly boy.
we're gonna we're gonna have to we're gonna have to get together and divvy up all your stuff because if you go, we got to come over and get it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Come on down. Sonia will probably just send it to the junkyard anyway. Yeah.
Scrap it.
What's that? I don't want my wife to sell my fishing poles for what I told her I paid for them.
Kind of like that. Yeah. I don't generally keep that sort of thing from her. She knows exactly how much the Tormach cost. In fact, when I told her what it would cost to see if I could go ahead, she was like, "You gonna use it?" I said, "Yeah." Okay. I was like, "What?" What?
There's got to be some kind of catch
There's
to
a catch
this.
here, right? Yeah. No. Uh, so she really blew. That was like an ace move for her. She was like she won everything that that was like poof. You're the queen. It was like wow. Okay. So
Keep you at the house every day.
yeah. Yeah. Good point. Um,
Mine would be like, how long is it going to take for it to pay for itself?
hmm Yep. It should pay for itself before you're done paying for
Yep.
it. It should that in an ideal world. In fact, had I worked a little bit harder, it would have paid for itself in probably the first year. But yeah. Anyway, it was an interesting experience. I know how I would do it differently if I were buying, let's say, an Ohms Rudd router. One of the big routers with the multi-tool changer, multi-head, the aggregate cutter, and all that. I know how I would go about that now, based on the experience of buying a production machine last time. I would approach it totally differently. I would know down to the minute how long I would have to before I could have it paid for, and I would plan to execute on that as hard and as fast as I could, because the minute it's paid off and no longer working for its keep, everything becomes bonus.
Yep.
Everything becomes bonus. It's like As soon as it's paid off, it can pay for the next machine, which will then pay itself off and pay for that other machine too. And before long, you've got several machines working, and you're in, you're in your office doing something else while somebody else is tending it or whatever, if you want to grow that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a mentor that passed away probably about 8 or 9, 10 years ago, and he was like that. He didn't mind investing in something, but he would do his homework. He would, hire an accountant or a what do you call them?
Mm-hmm.
People that would analyze, okay, well, how long is it going to take to pay this off? What kind of volume am I going to have to turn over to get it to pay off? I want to pay it off within, you know, 2 years or 3 years or whatever. What do I have to do? And he'd have all that figured out,
Yeah.
And if he need to invest $250,000 to get there, he didn't mind doing it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, here's the thing. It's never the cost of the machine that's the issue. Because regardless of what the machine costs, let's pick a number. Let's say it's $100,000 machine. Okay. In order to support that $100,000 machine, you've got to have the tooling, the work holding, the bits, the consumables, all of that stuff. And that total is going to be way more than $100,000. So in order to have that $100,000 machine, let's say it's 1.5 times, not just one time, the total cost of the machine. So you're going to have $250,000 invested in that $100,000 machine. So you have to be working from the knowledge that that's the break-even point, not the $100,000 machine.
Yep.
Did
A lot of
that
people
make
don't see that,
did that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Makes total sense. Because, I mean, it's like you said, you got to look in at all the unseens.
Yeah. And
You
I
know,
probably underestimated because I forgot power. I forgot water and coolant or all those other. I did mention
Vacuum
consumables, but
pumps.
yeah. One more time. One more time, Ned. We didn't hear
Vacuum
you.
pumps.
Vacuum pumps. Yeah.
Vacuum.
Whew. It gets crazy.
Proper wiring into the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in my shop, I had to get a 12-inch miter saw. I had to get a planer, a joiner, 2 band saws, a big drill press, and a big table saw. That was just to support the CNC machine. So that's probably the table saw was probably a $5,000. The joiner was probably $1,000. The planer was probably $1,000. Drill press is around 500. Miter saw was around 700. So that's just the basic tools to run the shop. Just basic stuff. Now the cutters, the blades, and the storage facilities. You got to have cabinets to store your stuff in, your screws and your paints and all that. So and you got to have a TV and a stereo, of course. And then you got to have cleanup facilities. So you got your dust collector, which is another 500 or 600. Then you got to have a place to put your dust in your collection, your trash.
Mhm.
So you're up there, and never mind if you got it at the house. Never mind the argument you get from the honey the first time you carry a load of dust in the house.
Mhm.
You know
What do you mean carry it in the house? Just make it in the house.
Yeah.
Well, I first started up my first CNC machine. My wife was away at work, and she came home and saw the dust in the garage being tracked. I didn't track any dust in the house, but she saw it. So
When
it was.
when
I only had about 3 weeks before I was facing the wrath of Khan,
Mhm.
because she had. Yep. You know, she
when
had me moved out within 3 weeks.
Not to mention the noise when she's trying to watch her favorite show, and
well
you go
Exactly
when
in
I
there,
right.
and you go in there and start up the router, and she can't hear it. You know.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh,
well when I
So
when
now
I
you got
first
silence proofing. You got to add
when I when
soundproofing.
I first when I first started with my 4030 CNC router, it didn't make a lot of noise. That wasn't the issue. And I thought, oh, these little cutters, they don't make a lot of dust, sort of thing. And that's because when I was running the 3/8 tapered ball noses, or the
hmm
3/8 down to, I don't know what the tiny, like that's the shaft diameter down to the tapered ball noses. And I thought, oh, these things are pretty good. They don't make a lot of dust. But after about a week of running it, and you still don't see it, but when you move one of the figurines on the cupboards or something like that, and you see these rings there,
Yep.
I wasn't very popular for a while.
Yeah, that explains your infatuation with all the Dyson dust collecting.
That's it. Yep. And look, and that's micro dust that's in the air that you're breathing in, even when you, like, even if you're in a workshop and you went, okay, I don't need to run the big dust extractor on this. You know what I mean? I think that running a small dust extractor to collect the micro dust, or even to vent it out into the backyard or something like that, is probably more important than picking up the large dust particles. The large dust particles you can walk past every 5, 10, 15 minutes and just fire up the dust extractor and remove the bulk or whatever, and it'll be fine. So yeah, yeah.
It's that fine dust that gets you.
Yep. That's the stuff you're breathing in.
And the sunlight comes in. If you got a door open or something, you could see it
hmm
where ordinarily you can't. It's just like a fog coming through.
Well, I didn't have any problem noticing the dust problem when I started because the first thing I was cutting was MDF, and there
You couldn't notice the dust
you couldn't
for
miss
all
it
the
if you
dust.
tried. Yeah,
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 it's like can't
brown
see
boogers. Uh, just terrible. Yeah, that stuff got everywhere. Yeah, hmm.
kind of like
Yeah,
painting. You know,
yeah.
back when I was doing a lot of finishing, you don't realize, I'm wearing, my old work clothes and everything. And while you're in there working, you don't realize it until you get off of work and you walk in the house and
hmm
everybody's like, "Good God." They can smell it,
Yep,
it's on you.
yep,
You got to
w-
change clothes, take a bath before you can play with your baby, you know,
yep,
that type of thing.
yeah. With the MDF, I was just like everybody else when I started. I was using the shop vac to try and keep up with the dust. So you're standing there, the machine's cutting, and you got the hose in one hand, and you're running it around in front of the machine by the bit, trying to get it to suck up all that dust that it's spewing all over the shop. And you thought you were doing a great job. The next day, when the dust had a chance to settle, and you see it's on every single square inch of that shop.
Yep.
Ah, everywhere, and you'll never get it all off. There's probably still dust out there from uh, from that first cutting experience because you just can't get everywhere to clean. Uh,
Yep. The shop I used to work at, the boss man had a thing, you stop 15 minutes before it's time to knock off and take the air hose and blow everything off, blow
hmm
and I'm like, okay, so what are you doing? Well, you're getting all the dust off of everything. Or you're just getting the airborne, and then when you leave, it settles back down on everything. You come in next morning, it looks like you didn't clean up.
hmm Well, when I was working for a fellow out, it doesn't matter where, running his big CNC, he had the same thing. Um, when we were done for the day, we'd take the air hose and we'd blow off the machine and we'd blow it all towards the back corner of the shop. And he had a drop in the back corner of the shop that went up into uh, his dust collector. Sitting there on the floor, always, running, but it would only pull so much dust until you blew it all back there. But he was still behind the curve every day
You
with
know,
that thing. Yep. Yeah.
I always used to just vacuum, take the shop vac and I had one of those floor sweeps and I just took some old wheels off a toy or something and put it on there and had it about, I don't know, half inch off the floor, just rolled that thing around. That's the best way to clean up right there.
For the floor.
For the floor, yeah. But you still got to blow the equipment out.
Yeah.
I knew a guy that used to use a leaf blower, open up the garage doors and
Mm-hmm. Blow it all out.
put on a dust mask and say, I'll come back in an hour and do it again.
Yeah.
Got to leave some for seed.
Yeah. And then the following morning, do you have to come off and blow off the cars? Uh,
Yeah, they would take and put big fans in front of the roll-up doors and block it off and call it good, turn the fans on and take the air hose and start blowing. Which then, I mean, it helped, but it just everything was pulled towards those fans and just whatever it came to, it stuck to.
Everything's good until OSHA shows up.
Yep.
Well, the one company that I work with a little bit is that Legacy. They were contacted by a manufacturing company that they had to build an enclosure around the CNC. It wasn't a flatbed CNC, it was a rotary CNC for doing large parts. And it was OSHA that was on the company and said, okay, you got to have all this contained and self-extraction and all that. It turned out to be an interesting machine. Of course, the case is way bigger than the operating part, but yeah, I think it was some kind of a education department somewhere that nope, you got to control this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I helped a fella set up his business, he was making liquor cabinets for scotch, whiskey cabinets. Anyway, he went out and he bought the machine brand new. His original thought was he was going to put it in a home garage, and this machine company required you to have light curtains and a cage around the machine and all sorts of things. So he had no clue just how oversized that machine was for his home. I also couldn't get power to it, but he ended up going into a shop, and the majority of that shop space that he found was taken up by all the safety equipment that he had to have installed, or else they wouldn't warranty his machine. And we're not talking 1 foot extra around the machine. We're talking 4 to 8 feet, or in every direction around this machine. It's really crazy. Yeah.
I've got a guy where I started doing some more work on his CNC, and it's a German CNC. He would have paid a fortune for it, but yeah, it's got the optical curtains all the way around it. You can't step anywhere near the machine while it's operating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was teaching at a facility that had one of those machines, talking to the service tech. And he said he walked into one and all the fences were down, all of the curtains were disabled.
Yep.
And they called him in to do some maintenance on it. It wasn't under warranty at that point, but it was still to do maintenance. He says, I am not touching a thing until all of this is back in position.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all we want you to do is fix the spindle. I'm not doing anything until all the safety equipment is back. Yeah, they were taking the light sensors and taping them together with duct tapes. you know,
Yep.
all kinds of stuff.
And that's not cheap to have them come out and reinstall all of that.
Yeah.
Because not only does it have to be reinstalled, but it has to be inspected. So yeah, not fun.
Yeah, I can't see why that would affect a service person coming out to fix one aspect of a machine, where basically, if there were work health safety issues inside the factory, you could argue that no one's allowed to step into that factory until it was work health safe compliant to start with. So that's a bit of a strange one. I should have a look into that. Like if you worked on a machine, made it operational, but the machine was actually unsafe, would you be liable for it?
Well, this was a company service tech
Oh, okay.
for
Oh,
that
okay.
machine.
Yeah.
So the company had their rules that service tech had to comply with.
Yep.
I think it's
Okay.
more going back to the company liability that manufactured the machine. They probably, not probably, I'm sure they had gotten sued more than once.
Yeah.
Because one of the service techs had a scar across his side of his face. I said, "How'd you get that?" I was in behind it because I knew better than the machine. The machine took off and he couldn't move out of the way quick enough.
Yeah. Yeah, they can kill you if you're not careful. All that safety stuff is there for a reason. Somebody cut off something or somebody got squashed one way or they just keep adding more things. We'll stop that. And there's big insurance involved. I'm sure that his company that he was working for wouldn't insure him if he went ahead and did a repair without the proper safety stuff, and he's on his own. Probably fire him. Uh,
Well, where I'm at, we've got, Colorado, we've got a lot of wildfire risk. The insurance companies here, since we've had so many fires in residential areas, the insurance companies are refusing to insure homes and buildings unless you meet their clearance requirements. The insurance was getting extremely high, and one guy went to another company. Company contacted him and said, "Yeah, that tree by the corner of your house has to come down. That bush in the back has to come down. These three have to come down." And they were looking at satellite imagery.
mm-hmm.
They never even showed up. They said, "These have to be out of there." He goes, "How did they know?" I said, "Images."
Yep.
Yeah.
They could even do it with a drone.
Yep.
Yep.
Send the drone over. Yeah.
They have satellites. They use satellites.
How they just
They
use
measure.
drone.
They use they just did my roof and they used a satellite fixture of it, and it was within a couple feet of the actual size measured by hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
That
they could spot.
Yeah, they
They could.
use a site for solar, but the problem with the satellites is if it's out of date by even a week, for most building stuff, it's not a problem. But like for um, surveying for like the situation beforehand, you want like reasonably updated imagery sort of thing.
Yeah, they do that. The satellites are so accurate now. They came to measure my yard for the fence, and they were within a quarter of an inch everywhere. And in fact, I got 4 feet of my yard back because the neighbor had thought the, the pins had been farther back than they were. They're getting so accurate now, and they're doing the updates with every 8 or 9 days now. Used to be like 30 or 40 days. They just did a thing on my house for my roof, and the old picture had some stuff in there, but the new picture had my new car and my new shed and everything in there. So it's amazing what they're getting now.
And that is actually a concern. Like you've built stuff, and if your next door neighbor finds out that, like in your case, Kurt, that he's missing out on a couple of feet or even
Sure.
even a foot of his own land, he can actually legally ask you to give that back, and that could cost the person their house. They'd have to modify the house if there's council or whatever standards like for clearance and so on like that. And this actually happened to a lady that I know. It was a rural town, and it was by something like about 2 meters that the fence line got put, like
Yeah.
whether it was done maliciously or not, I can't say, but basically her fence was onto the new owner that purchased it, got it surveyed, and with the new technology found that he was entitled to an extra meter and a half to 2 meters, which is 5 to 6 foot of property, like, and that it's a fairly long property, like rural property. So there was a lot of land there that she had to relinquish.
My grandfather planted trees back in the 60s along what he thought was his property line after they put an addition on the house. Back in them days, it was teeny. But anyway, he lived there and then he passed away. And then my grandpa was fixing to move away and pass away in the 70s. Well, they went back and they go to sell the old grandma's house, the old homestead, and the property, the house was actually built 5 feet over the property line
Oh boy.
into the next door's property. So they had to do a quit claim deed because of adverse possession. It was over 30 years of using the land openly as their own. So the previous property owner had to give up over 30 feet of property because of that.
Well, I wonder how squatting laws would fall into that, because he's technically been paying council rates and
Yeah.
so on for it. He's been maintaining it. He would technically be able to claim that land, and I couldn't quite understand which party got the ownership, but he should technically be able to claim ownership of that land.
Yeah, he got 30 some feet of it, of the property next door because of the adverse possession law. And the way it
Okay, yeah,
works is
there you go.
yeah, the way it works is you start using the land, you maintain it openly without trying to hide it, and nobody says anything. In Michigan is actually 10 years, and it's an automatic deal because if my neighbor used my yard for 10 years, that 4 feet of my yard, it's almost an automatic deal where he could just say it's his now. You got to go to
Yeah.
court and have him declare it, but but um, as long as there's never been a dispute, it's almost automatic. And I would imagine most states are like that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that law.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think we got here from MDF Dust.
Why did you
Get,
take us off topic, Bill?
I can't help myself. I, I really can't. Mm-mm-mm.
Well,
did any of
adverse
you guys
possession is
see
a pretty
that?
good rule.
Did any of you guys see that comment that was supposed to come over, the green comment?
It's here tonight, but we can't because it's raining.
So
It's supposed to be here for several weeks, actually.
is it actually green, or do you have to have like a
I'll let you
binoculars
know.
or something?
You're supposed to be able to see it with binoculars or telescope, and probably the naked eye too. But who knows?
Anybody know what part of the sky?
I think it's
The dark
west.
part.
The dark part? Okay.
The dark part.
I think it was the
All the
west.
guys that shouldn't be given a smart aleck remark.
Yeah, you probably figured I had that one figured out where it was, but no. I'll do the research before we're
Well,
done with this, and we'll all know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a smart aleck remark, but it's actually true.
Hmm.
They say it comes by once every 1,000 years.
Yeah. Where were you the last time it came through?
Weren't even a twinkle in my dad's eye. Maybe my great 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 grandfather. But
Uh-huh. Let's see. Comet Watch. Thing. Let's see what happens here. How to see Comet Lemon tonight. Um, hmm. It's in the northwest sky around the constellation Bootes. Bootes.
Northwest
Just
is
look.
good.
Yeah, just look for your booties.
Is that anywhere?
Okay.
Is that anywhere near Uranus?
I would hazard a guess that it might be. Um, Beginning an hour after sunset, you should be able to see it if their conditions are right. So that is, I'm assuming, for the northern hemisphere. I don't know where it will be for the southern hemisphere, or if you'll be able to even see it on the side of the on your side of the world. Have you been hearing about it, Ned?
What's that?
Have you been hearing about a comet coming through?
No, I haven't.
Hmm. So I wonder if it's one of those things you won't be able to see.
Unless you're Spider-Man, the Green Comet.
Comet Lemon, it's called Comet Lemon, like Jack Lemon. Um, View from Australia. Let's see what Google has to say about that. Uh, hmm. Northwestern sky after sunset, still near the Big Dipper and the bright star Arcturus. Those I know.
So is that where it's going to be located?
Yep.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for it tonight. We've got a bit of an overcast, like it's a cloudy, somewhat cloudy, overcast, hot day here,
Yeah.
Singapore weather.
75-year phenomenon lights up Aussie skies. Let's see what that's all about. That's the headline. Let's see. Meteor shower. Oh, you're having meteor showers this week.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it rained like crazy today. We have stuff called lake effect rainstorms, which had hail and all the good stuff, high winds. So I was trying to install my diesel heater, and I got it installed. I got the power to it, but I don't know how to turn it on. So I guess I have to learn how to do that tonight.
The diesel heaters are like really easy to install.
Yeah, they are. And I primed it with diesel fuel. The next step is to get it to fire up, and I don't know how to do that yet. It can't be too
Um,
difficult.
one thing to watch is make sure you use the hard plastic line that they supply you with. Don't use soft like don't replace their line with a silicon or rubber hose
Right,
after the little solenoid pump, because basically because it pulses, it just flex and it won't pump the diesel. That's probably
right.
the biggest thing to watch for.
Yeah, and air bubbles. You got to get the air
Yeah,
bubbles out. Cavitation causes air bubbles, and some people complain and cry like babies because they can't get it to run. But if they would just plumb it right, they wouldn't have that problem.
that's right. Yeah.
Does the
And the
diesel
other
use
thing
a?
is mounting a pulsing pump, that if you have got one of those, the pulsing pump can be noisy. You can buy an aftermarket quiet one if your one came with a noisy one.
Yeah, it's pretty noisy. I'm going to have to go ahead and buy the aftermarket one. I got it mounted on rubber, and some people put them into pool noodles, but it's pretty loud, and it's mounted on the
Yeah, it
wall
is.
of the camper, so it also it tends to amplify the noise.
Does the
Yeah.
diesel use a glow plug?
Yes, it
Yes.
does.
Okay. Just curious.
It's actually really cool how it works. It's a very ingenious design. Yeah.
You gotta
And,
have full
and
12 volts. You can't have 11 and a half.
yeah. Once it's started, you can have a little bit less, but yeah, you need to fire the glow plug up. But it is very efficient. You get a lot of run for a couple of liters of diesel.
You get it takes 15 amps to start, then it runs on 0.7 amps after that.
Yeah.
Probably the motors, the fans.
Ooh.
Wonder if you
Burns
could.
1/4 liter per hour.
That's pretty good.
6,000
It is.
6,000 BTUs.
It pumps out a lot of heat.
Hmm.
Great workshop heater.
Yeah. Well, my brother has a 27-foot bunkhouse camper, and he'll burn 30 pounds of propane over a weekend. So I'm going to try to get him to talk him into buying one of these little diesel heaters for his camper, because 30 pounds of propane is like it's like $35-40 just for the weekend. So if you go hunting for a whole week, that's 10 days. He's going to burn several $100 worth of propane if it's cold.
Yep.
Yeah, but look at all the alcohol that they burn through, and it doesn't even keep them warm.
Yeah.
Get the right kind, it'll warm you up.
Or it'll seem like you're warm.
Yeah, you'll think you're warm.
Yeah.
You'll be warm while it's going down. That's about it.
Well, Ned doesn't get to 10 below zero or 10 degrees above zero here, like they do here. Down in Australia, if they get down to 70, they're freezing.
Oh, we get some cold temperatures, but nothing like what you guys get.
Yeah. We're only a few miles from the tundra.
Yeah, I think it's 15 degrees Celsius right now where I'm at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my top of the head conversion. This is 55 Fahrenheit right now.
Too warm.
Mm-hmm.
It's 32 degrees, so that'll be around about 90 degrees Fahrenheit here at the moment, maybe just under 90.
Nice. That's nice.
I wouldn't know. The air conditioner fixes it.
I'm
right,
at
I'm curious.
63 Fahrenheit right now.
How about Colorado?
I think we were 28 this morning, Fahrenheit.
Jeez.
Whee! So we have a wide variety of temperatures around the world. So this begs the question, has nothing to do with temperature. This begs the question. What winter projects are you guys going to be working on your CNCs? Summer for you, Ned.
Well, I just fired up the laser, and I haven't had it going for a good month 1 or 2 months, and I cut some wooden discs for the preserving jars. I bottled. I put some cabbage in for fermentation, um, and I've got to do some carrots and some beets.
So you're
But
making sauerkraut.
I'm making sauerkraut. I love sauerkraut.
I
I
do
was
too.
I was going to ask you what kind of wine you made out of carrots and beets, but I guess sauerkraut's a good answer. Yeah.
I actually drink very little now. I've cut right back on drinking. I've lost some 25 kilos in the last year and a bit, and a good portion of it is a result of cutting my drinking back to only a couple of glasses of wine on a Friday or Saturday afternoon. So no, alcohol isn't the primary agenda anymore.
Well, cool. Congrats.
Yeah, we're harvesting our artichokes, our sun chokes, they call them. Jerusalem artichokes, one of the names. We're harvesting ours now. Boy, they're good to eat. They're just as good as a potato or anything else.
I love artichokes. Yeah, they're good.
I haven't. we're we're looking at that. That's one of the things on the healthy list. The artichokes are supposed to be very, very healthy for you, but I've only tried the ones that are in like the Italian style that are in oil and so on, and I just found them a little slimy and oily sort of thing. But I
Oh,
will
you got
give
to get
them
sun
a go.
chokes.
Huh?
You got to get sun chokes.
Sunchokes. Okay.
So, the Jerusalem artichoke.
Jerusalem artichokes. Okay.
My niece used to make a dip out of artichokes. It was pretty good, kind of like spinach dip, but she used artichokes. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
One of the things that I make, I don't know if any of you guys have tried them, and this is why I do the cabbage rolls, because the
Eh,
pickled cabbage, a pickled cabbage or a fermented cabbage of
Is that?
full size, so you can use the leaves, is to make cabbage
Hang
rolls.
on, Kurt. Go ahead. Keep going, Ned. I
Yeah,
just
but
want.
basically it's smoked meat and so on inside. It's with some rice, and you just roll them, and I freeze them up. And I put them in well, I used to put them in the little Chinese takeaway containers. Now I'm putting them in the vacuum seal containers, and that's
Mhm.
my go camping or just go camping food, or the or just to snack on when I couldn't be
Yeah.
stuffed making anything in the afternoon or something like that, just for lunch.
Kurt is holding up a sunchoke, I think.
Yeah, they're actually a sunflower, and these are the tuber roots. And you peel the skin off them, and you cook them like potatoes, or you deep fry them, or you bake them, and they're actually pretty good.
Okay.
At first, I thought you were holding up a chicken leg.
It looked like a drumstick. Yeah.
A short-legged
Well, you
chicken.
hold it by the stem, and you peel the main part, break the stem off.
So you use buffalo chicken sauce? No.
Well, some people do. Oh, I've got a boy here. Well, some people um, put
Oh
all kinds
boy.
of sauces on them, just like a potato.
Hmm. Well, that's the first I've seen them in their natural state. I've always gotten them out of a jar or fresh or whatever. Artichokes. I've not tried the sunchokes though.
They're so easy to grow. You just get your bulbs and you throw them you dig a line, cover them up, and let them grow. They get to be 8 feet tall, and then in the fall, like it is right now, you just go out and pull them out of the ground, and there'll be
So,
10 or 15 on every plant.
so is this the? Oh wait, 10 or 15 on every plant. So this is not a part of the sunflower thing
No,
where we
this is
get
the root.
the seeds. It's the root.
It's the
Okay,
root. Yeah, the tuber of the roots,
gotcha.
just like a potato.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
does the flower
And
have seed like regular sunflowers that you can eat, or is it just a
well, the
flower?
flowers are kind of small. The seeds are teeny, but most people grow them from the smallest tubers because like a potato, you'll have 4 or 5 big potatoes and a half a dozen little size, pea size.
Hmm.
So you grow the pea size, and it doesn't take much, and they don't take much care. Just grow them, and they grow to be about 7, 8 feet tall, and they'll have 6 or 7 big tubers and a bunch of little ones on every plant. And what we're doing now is we're harvesting the little patch. It's only 15 feet long, one row, and we'll have enough sunchokes to last us all winter. Well, there's only 2 of us, of course.
Yeah, sounds cool.
These
Oh,
are the
look at
little
that.
discs. These are the little discs I've cut, and these go on top of the jars to hold the goodies down, and to allow the gas to rise through them.
Nice.
How
They're
thick?
just out of American oak,
Nice.
quarter inch thick.
What's the wattage on the laser?
I've only got a 60-watt laser, but what I did with the cabbage heads was I put them in proper food, the Mylar style food bags, and normally I've got a European background. Normally they'll go into a big drum and you sort of like pack them down, but obviously I don't need a 44-gallon drum full of cabbage. Around about a half a dozen or so cabbage heads is plenty. So what I did was I used little 10 litre, which would be about four odd gallon buckets, plastic buckets, and I put a plastic bag inside, then dropped the cabbage head into it, and put the bit of wood on it, and then just put I actually used my Velcro cable management ties for networking and just sort of wrapped it around it, and then that holds it down. But what I'm going to try later on the CNC is to get some Caesar stone and cut some discs out of Caesar stone. That way it'll actually weigh it down. I found the timber tends to float a little bit, so that wasn't overly good. But yeah, so actually do some similar thing, but out of Caesar stone.
I'm
Nice.
not familiar with Caesar stone.
It's an artificial marble. Supposed to
Oh,
be pretty
okay.
easy to work with on the. It's what they use for modern kitchen benches.
Mhm.
But
I
I
think I
might
know what
even.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Pardon?
I just didn't know what it was called. Okay.
Yeah.
Corian.
Yeah, that I heard that name bantered about as well. Yeah, but I might actually try doing it out of something like marble or granite. Actually, first I'll see how it cuts in the CNC.
Yep. I was just, earlier we were talking about how much your machine costs. And so I got curious and you mentioned Legacy and somebody else mentioned David. And like a 5 foot by 10 foot machine from Avid is like top end 31,000. Whew, prices are going up. Prices are going up. Um,
Kind
and
of like houses.
what's that?
Kind of like houses.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Even at 31,000, if you compare it to like a professional machine, that's nothing. You couldn't even buy the spindle in some cases for 31,000 on some of the big machines, like the one probably Scott runs every day. Um, you get a machine like a Morbidelli or a Biesi or something like that. The Biesi was I think the guy had about $250,000 invested in all of his stuff to make that happen by the time it was done.
Yeah, that machine that you guys have seen me working on a bit, you'd be able to land that in the States from China for under 20,000 US, including the vacuum pumps and everything.
Yeah, the Blue
And
Elephant. Yep.
as long as and I believe everyone in this room now is quite capable of modifying and working on it yourselves. You'll save yourself a lot of money. Generally, just involves a little bit of rewiring to your location's color standards,
Mm-hmm.
fixing up the earths, and it needs a little bit of bringing to standards sort of thing, but um, uh, I think for under 20,000 US, you'd get it in and do all your modifications and everything very easily and be up and running very quickly.
I'm not sure if that's still the case anymore recently,
Mm.
because
Well, I
now
don't
we
know
suddenly got the
what
tariffs. I don't know
tariffs
what
are
that's
like.
going to do. Yeah,
At
but
least for another week or two.
yeah, tariffs are a real thing. It's part of life now. Um, I'm kicking myself because there were some things that I wanted this summer from Germany that I should have ordered.
But you
You
should
know,
be right from Germany. It's only really from China or Russia that your tariffs are on there, or are they hitting you from Germany
no,
as well
no, no,
everywhere?
no.
Oh.
Anything that's coming into the U.S. now, pretty much. Uh, Canada. Canada, Mexico, you name it.
It depends on what mood they're in at what week.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a court case about those tariffs? Has that court case been resolved or?
I'm sure
No,
it's still in
He
more
won,
process.
he won them all.
more
Anything under
lawyers.
$100 is being tariffed.
Anything over $100 or under?
Anything under 100 is tariff free. It was $800, but they just changed it down to $100. So you can still order stuff from Temu as long as it's T-shirts or ink pens or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how this is going to affect Amazon, because most of the stuff in Amazon shop came from China.
Well, I heard that Amazon is actually suffering as a result of that big time.
Yeah. And this is just
Yeah.
the exact wrong time for anything to affect sales, because this is the time when companies finally reach profitability. This is the fourth quarter coming up here.
Mm.
Um, but that's political. I don't generally comment on that, other than to say I enjoyed buying things without worrying about that. Now I won't. So,
Yeah.
yep. But yeah. Hmm. Well, if the stuff is already here in the U.S., I don't know if it still gets hit.
Well, it depends on the accounting system. First in, first out, or first in, last out.
Yep. Hmm. Yeah, and that. Oh, I wish you hadn't said that. Yeah. Yeah. Now that's got me thinking. Um, next time I call to order something, hi, could you tell me whether you do first in or first out accounting? Or first out? I was thinking about ordering something, however.
Wouldn't the correct question just be how much? And if you're too dear, I'll go elsewhere.
Part of the issue is we're not getting a good solid answer on how much of the product is being tariffed. John Grimsmo makes pocket knives, very expensive pocket knives, and he ships them all around the world. And there is some steel in his pocket knives, in the blades. So when they were applying the tariff to the first pocket knife that he sent across the border, they applied it to the entire knife, which is over $1,000 worth of knife that has perhaps, let's be generous and say $100 worth of steel in it. At the time that he began making the knife from steel, which he, by the way, imported from the U.S. Into Canada to do that. So when it went back, he got hit with a very large percentage tariff, something like 50%.
Depends on how you declare the item.
Yeah.
Technically, the tariff is supposed to be not on the retail price, but on the cost basis, supposedly.
Well,
Yes, but UPS was the one who declared
yeah.
the amount that he had to pay after
Well,
he had
Yeah,
shipped.
UPS and FedEx. Yeah, UPS and FedEx are taking a beating over their apparent profiteering a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Well,
his solution was he went out and he got a customs broker, or whatever you want, that now he uses to ship his knives. So
yeah.
they do all of the paperwork for him based on, real legitimate paperwork and invoices and everything. And so he's got a better grasp on it, but it's still new. So, can you imagine you're the customer and you have to pay the tariff? Okay. And suddenly your $1,000 pocket knife became a $1,500 pocket knife by the time you got it.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Well,
tough.
yeah. Well, when I did the load of aluminium and screws from China, what I found that we have what's called a 40% dumping tax. This was sort of like at the start of the talk of the tariffs and so on, but we didn't really have tariffs. But it was just a thing that we had here in Australia that when you import something from China, I think it sort of started a little bit sooner. But yeah, it was basically they applied a 40%. Anything that can be manufactured in Australia that you order from overseas incurs a 40% dumping tax on the aluminium, that is. But when they actually apply the dumping tax, it's on the entire order, including the freight. It's not just the aluminium. So the idea is you break your order up, and I further found out that our orders are $1,000 Australian, which would probably be about $600 or $700 US. That there is no tariffs or dumping tax on. So as long as my orders are under $1,000 next time, I'm fine. I've just got the normal GST duty, etc., and that's pretty much it. But it still works, even with the dumping tax. It still works out cheaper than buying from actually from a lot of the suppliers in Sydney. And I think I was saying that to you last time.
Yeah.
The anchor bolts that they use on the aluminium extrusion, I think all of you are familiar with the anchor bolts. Well, they're about cheapest price I've seen is about $9 for a single anchor bolt. And when you need in the vicinity of 30 or 40 of them on a bed to make it nice and solid, that's a lot of money. But I found that if I order them from China, they were 19 cents each, but there was a catch. I had to buy 100 of them.
Yeah, that
It was a
sucks.
no-brainer catch,
Yeah.
but yeah.
$19 worth for one, or 19 for 100.
Yeah, well, it was 10. Well, the
Or
cheapest
whatever.
price
Yeah.
was 9, but there was freight and that on it. And I think the average price that I could order at was about $14 Australian each. And when you see such price gouging by the market, and generally the smaller items are where they gouge, we deserve what we do to each other.
Yeah. Well, man, I got to get it because she's making waves at me here. So
Wave back and tell her we love her.
yeah, well, yeah, she's waving.
Well, it's 9 o'clock anyway, and
Yeah.
you have a great evening, Kurt.
See you later, Kurt.
Well, fellas, anything else before we shut her down? Milo, you're good. All right.
Talk to you guys.
Thank you. See you next time. Hope and we do this every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. There'll be links inside of the group.
Have
Thank
a
you,
good one,
guys.
guys. Catch
Yep.
us later.
Bye-bye.